All right, well, I mentioned it before. We're on two-step equations, this time with rational coefficients. That means, yes, your favorite subject, decimals and fractions. So we are on page 483. Examples D, E, and F are down at the bottom. Let me walk you through some numbered examples first. So, previously, just like one-step equations, we've done them with rational coefficients. This time, we're going to work with them in two-step equations. Same thing we've done before. We work backwards with PEMDAS to solve. So, solve 2 over 3, n plus 6 equals 10. Just like you see right here, you gotta get rid of the grouping. So if this is really 2 over 3 times n plus 6, the thing is, it's a division sign. So you still need to times to get rid of it. When it comes to having a fraction in front of a group, you need to times it by the reciprocal, which is our flipped number, to get rid of it. So in here, they flip 3 over 2, and they multiply. They put the 1 up here, and remember back with our GCF, you can divide and make them smaller earlier on if you need to, and if you can. So let's practice from an example 3 to a letter D and a letter F, because those both have fractions in them. Then we'll go back and look at 4 and do letter E. So, letter D. We have 1/4 D minus 3 equals negative 15. To get rid of this 1/4, we need to multiply and flip. So we multiply by 4 over 1 because it is the flipped version on both sides. So 4 is on top, 4 is on bottom, you cross it off. 1's on top, 1's on bottom, you cross it off. We are now left with one group of D minus 3 equals negative 15 over 1 times 4 over 1. And yes, you can do that, and I encourage you to do that. So, D minus 3 equals, what's 15 times 4? Negative 15 times 4, so it will be a negative number up top. 15, 30, 45, 60. Negative 60 over 1 times 1, 1. So if you look at it, it's now D minus 3 equals negative 60. You add 3 to both sides. Cross it off. I ran out of room, so I'm going to move it over. D equals, when you're adding to a negative number, you're adding a positive number to a negative number, you're going to go to the right, which is going to look like subtraction. So 60 minus 3 is negative 57. And look at a number line. Please use a number line. It'll be negative 60, just like I did there, plus 3, so you go to the right 3, 1, 2, 3. When you go to the right, you're going towards 0. So negative 60, negative 59, negative 58, negative 57. If that did not make sense to you before, I hope it makes sense to you now. Please use a number line or draw your own if you need it. Let's do letter F, and then we'll work on letter E up top. So let's do letter F now. So a group of T plus 3 times 5 divided by 9 equals 40. Now with the fraction, we need to multiply by its reciprocal to get rid of it. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to move it and flip the problem around, because you can do that in a group and not mess it up. So 5 over 9 t plus 3 equals 40. So now that I've flipped it, it'll be easier to write with. So I'm going to zoom in here so you can see what I'm doing. So we will flip our fraction and multiply. So 5 over 9 turns to 9 over 5 on both sides. Since there's a 9 on top and on bottom, you get rid of it. And since there's a 5 on top and bottom, you get rid of it. We're now with t plus 3 equals 40 over 1 times 9 over 5. Now, you can divide 40 and 5 both by 5 right off the bat. So if we divide them by 5, 40 divided by 5 is 8 over 1. 5 divided by 5 is 1, so now it's 9 over 1. Now, to make this easier for you, 8 over 1 times 9 over 1, it's just 8 times 9. T plus 3 equals 8 times 9. 8 times 9 is 72. Back to a normal looking one-step problem, one-step equation. We get rid of our t plus 3 by doing minus 3 to both sides. T equals 72 minus 3, 69. If you don't remember how to do the flipping or the GCF part, please go back to one-step equations and coefficients. It was in your previous packet. So let's look at letter E with example 4. I'm going to back up here. I'm going to write our answers. D equals negative 57 and T equals 69. All right, so letter E, you notice we're using decimals. Same with number 4 up top. So we're going to look at this one first so that we can solve letter E. So, number 4. Solve 0.2 times C equals 3, and C minus 3 equals negative 10. Since it is a group, we divide by our outer number first, because we can't touch the parentheses until last. When we divide by a decimal, you're going to need to destroy that decimal, move it over, get rid of it. So I will walk you through letter E on how to divide with a decimal and then get down to a one-step equation so that you can check your answer. So let's go to letter E. I'm going to rewrite it up in our work zone. Letter E is 0.75 times times 6 plus D equals 12. We are first going to get rid of our out of the parenthesis number, which is times 0.75. So we're going to get rid of it by dividing by 0.75 on both sides. Now, since these two are the same number on top and bottom, you can just cross it out, leaving just the group of 6 plus D down below. We still have 12 divided by 0.75. This is where I'm going to move up into the work zone, this little extra lovely space, to show you how to divide with a decimal again, in case you forgot. So, 12 divided by 0.75. When you have a decimal as what you're dividing by. You need to get rid of it. And whatever you do to get rid of it on this side, you have to do to this side. So to get rid of it, you move it over 1 space, 2 space. 12 has a decimal right here. We're going to get rid of it by moving it over 1 space, 2 space, and adding zeros. So now our division is 1,200 divided by 75. Now, you know 75 can't go into 1. You know 75 can't go into 2. But you know it can fit inside of 120 at least once. So 120 minus 75 is 45. You bring your 0 down right here. You definitely know 75 can go in more than once, but how many more times is the question. It is okay if you guess, so I'm going to guess. If I'm thinking about money, I'm going to guess 75 times 6. So 6 times 5 is 40. Wait, no. 6 times 5 is 30. 6 times 7 is 32. No. It's 42. 42 plus 3 is 45. So we subtract that. 6 fits perfectly, so your answer is 16. Once you're left with 16, you have 6 plus d equals 16. You can get rid of it by subtracting 6 to both sides. D equals 16 minus 6, 10. Now, please, if you need it, use a calculator. Please try to practice a little bit of dividing with decimals. And if you're struggling with it, call me if you need help. This is how you do D, E, and F. D equals negative 57, D equals 10, T equals 69.